Good evening, and welcome to Gator's Garage, the home of all things historical and science fiction gaming in and around the great city of Savannah, Georgia. We have with us tonight not just one, but two fantastic guests. Mr. Brent McCoy, say hi to the folks, Brent.
Hola,
And
Senor.
we don't. Is that for our Spanish audience? I think that's about as far as we're going to get. And then Mr. Chris Hutchison, say hi to the folks, Chris.
Hey, good to be here.
Fantastic. And y'all know the drill, but before we get too deep, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and share us with your friends. Share us with your enemies. Just share us. It helps grow the channel. Best way to support the channel, of course, is buy merch from Gator Games and Books. We sell discount every day. There we go. We got something different coming into 2026. I've kind of taken the channel in a little bit different direction, looking to add a few more games on. Even some games that maybe Gator doesn't carry but are popular in the area. This one we do, though. We're going to be talking about Hail Caesar tonight, the epic Hail Caesar, in fact. So, but before we get to that, we're going to put Mr. Chris on the spot here just a little bit and say, hey, tell us a little bit about how you got into gaming.
Yeah, well, as a teenager, I got sucked into playing, Warhammer 40K, and
I'm sorry.
But honestly, a big part of it was like when I was a kid, I played a lot of Shogun Total War and Rome Total War.
Oh yeah,
and got really into that kind of thing. And so as I got older, I started getting into the historical stuff. BattleTech was a good gateway to that. Started playing a lot of BattleTech. Then, like around when I turned 30, I just had an urge to start buying historical miniatures. Basically,
oh, you hung up on us.
Huh?
They say it's an old man's hobby, but that's kind of young to feel like an old man. But there you go.
Yeah. Flames of War is what I started with.
Yep.
From Flames of War, I with the Team Yankee, and then the last couple of years started just exploding to collect everything: bolt action and black powder, Hail Caesar, Quar, Blood Plunder, all this stuff.
We have got to get some more Quar on the table too. They're coming
Absolutely.
out with so many cool things for the Quar, and I got a butt ton of those to put out. That's a whole nother video in itself where the Quar is going, and yeah, we need to get that on the table more. It's just too much fun. But I'm with you on the Hail Caesar. Mm-hmm. I know when I found out that Warlord was doing an epic line, I was like, that is so cool. And it's been very successful. Of course, started with the Civil War line, and it just flew off the shelves, both here and in England. And I think the next one was the Napoleonics. Yeah. And it was well received. And then Hail Caesar.
Yeah.
I've played all three now. Love them. Hope they do some more. I saw where Warlord is dropping the Punic War for Hail Caesar, but they're dropping models for 28. However, as you know, and we'll talk about this, Hail Caesar is really it's more about bases than it is about figure size. So if you wanted to do they're called the Pyrrhic War, so it's the Greek colonies versus the Romans. If you wanted to do epic Pyrrhic Wars, there'd be nothing to stop you, and then use the source book. So that's kind of cool.
Sure, and it actually has rules for that, because the 28 mil Hail Caesar has all those lists, but also even the epic book has rules for using the older style of Roman infantry, where they're all using the long spears.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it has the rules for. They don't have the models.
Right.
You would have to, if you wanted the models, you have to either use their triarii or find another source. But yeah, they have the stats for just instead of the pilums and the swords, giving everyone the long spears.
Right. Mm-hmm. Phalanx though Phalanx I think has its own special rules.
It does.
I think it tends to drift. At least I know historically it did.
Mm-hmm.
So my introduction to ancient wargaming was actually Warhammer Ancients,
okay.
and which I still have, and I've actually kicked around actually breaking it out as a skirmish game because the figures are rated individually, and it's a 28, and you got to pull your casualties off. But that was my introduction to Ancients. Loved it, had just a blast with it, and then when I found Hail Caesar, it really hits that sweet niche of size of battle versus the size of figures. I mean, I love 28s. If you've ever seen a table full of 28s, it's pretty cool, but it is very crowded unless you use like a 6x12. So I think the 15s just really hit that sweet spot.
Oh yeah, and there's lots of manufacturers. Alternative Armies is one. because the Epic and the 28 scale, it's the same rule set, and so they do sell. I bought recently a PDF that had 123 army lists for Hail Caesar, ranging from
Ooh.
Old Kingdom Egypt to the Crusades.
Ooh.
Everything, covering everything in that period, including like China and Korea and stuff.
Is that something Warlord sells, the PDF?
Oh yeah, it's like $5 or something.
Oh, that's
It's
fantastic.
the army list from every single source book they made for Hail Caesar.
Oh,
Just
wow.
the units. It doesn't have like the commanders, or it has a few army rules, but it's mostly just giving you the units and the points and everything. But
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's fantastic.
Fantastic. You'll have to shoot me a link over for that. That'd be fantastic.
Mhm.
Because, well, actually, everything I have is Gauls and Romans, but I have often wanted to do the Greeks and do the Greek city state, and then post Alexander Greek wars are fun to do too.
Yeah, you've got it has an army list just for Epirus.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. I love it.
Mhm.
So great hobby, great game to get into. Obviously, we three like to play it, but I think we play just about everything because we like games. But it's a fantastic fun period. And so you guys, what triggered putting this video together is you guys played the Celts versus the Romans
Mhm.
in Hail Caesar this past Saturday up at Savannah Lion Games, and you guys got some great shots. Here's the Celtic army. It's got a good variety. I think, what is it? Mostly warbands and then chariots and cav.
Yes, a
And
lot of
skirmishers.
skirmishers as well.
Right.
Yeah, lots of skirmishers.
Yeah,
That
technically the Celts don't use light infantry in this for some reason. It's just javelin skirmishers, but I just added in the rules for light infantry because I feel it makes it a bit more balanced.
Okay.
It has to do with like the army composition rules are a little bit weird if you don't have light infantry, because it's like it has to be 75% infantry, not skirmishers. That was just these warbands,
Right.
Right. So if you have light infantry, they count as being a not skirmisher, and that helps make a list make sense, so that you don't have to get 10 different warbands with 120 figures each.
Yeah. I mean, historically, they're probably not wrong,
Mhm.
but and of course, we all like our games to tell good backstories. So the light infantry could be some Iberian mercenaries that you hired.
Yeah.
On the way to the battlefield.
Mhm.
On the way to the battlefield. Hey, you guys want to fight? Yeah, sounds like fun.
Sure. Two of
Yeah.
my clubs didn't show up, so you want to guys fill in?
Yeah, and so for light infantry, so typically you have skirmishers, which are 2 bases per.
Yep.
So I just used the Gaul javelin skirmishers because they have a javelin and a shield, and did 3 bases of those, and just use that to
Nice.
represent the light infantry.
You
Because
know,
the difference is just that they can form a battle line and skirmishers can't.
okay.
Mhm.
And that's a prime example of one of the things we like about the game is it's in many ways figure agnostic. You can model the game, model the figures how you like.
Mhm.
And I think that's just huge. I know me and Brent, we won't rehash it too much on this trip, but we have this ongoing debate about the American Civil War set, whether it's 3 or 5 bases as the base. But the answer is yes. Whatever the players agree to. Now in Hail Caesar, your base size is roughly 6 or 3, and then 6 for the war bands.
Yeah, and then 2 for the Romans.
Right. Roman units, unless you use the maniple system, they are incredibly brittle.
Right,
So-
they're brittle, but they're all heavy infantry.
I don't know
Right.
about being brittle.
Mhm.
Brent says maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay, you can tell us more about your trauma there, Brent. So, and of course, here's the Roman Republic now,
Mhm.
as opposed to the Imperial Romans. And we'll look at the army that's on the table. But now this particular model set has 2 war bands, it looks like, and then a variety of infantry. So
it's 1 warband,
mhm.
and then it's a bunch of allied Italians, is what that
Got it.
is.
Okay.
So that's 2 units of 3 stands. They just stack together.
Okay.
And then the warband is the big blob of 6 stands there. Mhm.
Yeah,
War
that's
band.
one of the war bands that was lost en route to the battle. The other, those not yet Roman Italians are like they were another club that was picked up along the way. Not by me.
I love it. Okay. So that was the two armies that were kind of facing off against each other there. Here's your setup. And of course, what makes the Celts, and definitely the Britons, is the chariots. because why not?
That may or
And
may not have been used properly that battle.
who is? Are these your troops, Brent?
Maybe. I'm not.
Yeah, the painted ones are all the Celts because I started working on them first.
Yeah.
So both armies are mine. The Celts is about 750 figures painted, and I still have some cavalry to do, but it's mostly done for a full army there.
Wow.
Very well done as well. They go a lot better in person. Like, this is a pretty shoddy picture, I think, of myself. This is sort of like not too long after setup. This is, I think it was in turn 1, but
Mhm.
I think this might be later, but I think this is where this is on the far right side where we had some difficulties, and I realized that my warband was too big to fit because like just on the edge of this third stand is the edge of the board, and they couldn't fit like even like close together, could not fit through the forest gap, so they had to go through the forest partially, so that's why they're spread out. The skirmishers just trees don't exist to them, so
they don't care. They just keep moving.
and the chariots also couldn't go. Well, I guess they could have in this photo, but at the time I was like, they can't fit through there. They got to go into skirmish or something.
You've got just enough room there, and this is one of those things about miniature gaming. You know, do you want to be a rules lawyer? No, your chariots can't fit there. Or do you want to go the rule of cool? Yeah, they can get through.
I didn't actually, from my perspective, I could not get through there because of the angle I was sitting at.
Okay.
So I was like, they're just going to get stuck. It's like a traffic jam. Also, this is one of the sides that gave us both of us problems. And
something about command and control issues.
Oh yeah, our commanders just kind of sat there and stared at each other all game.
And what's interesting, people will play these games and sometimes get frustrated. All the epic games, all the ones in that series, they use that command role, and sometimes players will be like, "Good grief, I hate this game because the command roles just can really slow you down." Couple things. One, that happened in history. There's been some scholarship that the Jackson standing there like a stone wall may not have been a compliment. It's like, are you gonna move? So that happens. Now, there is an optional rule in Hail Caesars that allows for a minimum move. Did you guys not use that?
I don't think so.
Okay. The minimum move is if you're in column.
Okay.
There's
like 4 different optional movement rules that you can use.
I know what you're speaking about. That rule is if you're doing just one brigade versus one brigade. You're supposed to use that so that if you fail your command roll, they can still get a move in.
Okay.
Here we're doing 3 brigades aside, so we didn't use that.
Right.
Or divisions, they're called.
Sure. And division aside, yeah. And brigade level is actually such a great way to learn the game. It's a lot less to it, and you can get through a lot quicker. Oh, there's those beautiful Celts again.
The naked guys are behind those.
Yeah. Then that's where they should be. We don't want to see none of that. Just no. So, Brent, for bonus points, what did they call the naked troops?
I would make a comment, but
thank you. This is a family show. Skyclad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know a lot about the lingo. I just know that they were really good at fighting when they got into the fight, and they were also really like it's easy to distinguish them once they drop their shields.
Oh, they're nasty. Yeah, they're hardcore
physically and in combat.
Yeah. I don't know that I would want to go. I don't think I'd want to go hand to hand against somebody that wanted to wear nothing but a smile. I'd be like, "Where's my pistol?"
You're having a great day, and you're a part of it.
Yeah, like I said, both these armies are mine, and so the Gauls are my first painting project. So the Romans, most of them are prime, but I haven't started painting them yet.
Right.
Because I bought everything for Hail Caesar. I've got full armies for the Gauls, the Romans, and the Carthaginians.
Nice. Hail Caesar for days.
Yeah, so I thought I'd tackle the Gauls first. There's just so many of them. I thought it'd be an interesting project because how colorful they are. They're not in uniform of any kind, So they're everyone's got their different tunic colors and different capes and like their own little shield heraldries and stuff. And so I went with them first because I thought it'd be interesting.
So I always wrestle when it comes to painting irregular troops. I wrestle with doing the Confederates for the war between the states. How did you decide how did you set out to paint each individual figure with their own look, or did you just kind of do like a rolling variant or some combination?
Yeah, I just try to make it so it comes in strips of 10 guys, and I try to make it so each strip of 10 that there's not a lot of duplicates in there as far as colors.
Yeah,
that's kind of what was aiming for there.
Looks good. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, and so I looked up what dyes were kind of historically used, like for at the time. So like a lot of dark reds. You had like the yellow dyes from some kind of flowers or root. I forget what it was.
Okay.
Some blues like the woad and that kind of stuff. So that's the most common kind of dyes used for cloths. So that's what I was going with for like the tunics and the capes and stuff.
Well done. Gabby and I did similar research when we were doing our guys for Baron's War.
Mhm.
And that's why we went with a lot of lighter colors, not a lot of rich saturation, because they really, other than Royals, everybody had kind of a thinned out dye.
Mhm.
But man, those look great. That's fantastic. I can't wait till you get your Romans done. Then I can play with your guys.
Yeah.
So I've got both. I've got the basically two good sized armies, not full starter armies, but I've got a couple of good sized armies, and mine are all still bare plastic, and they're probably going to stay that way for a while. So there we go. Here's another shot of the table, and here battle has been joined.
Mhm.
Now I notice, and I think it makes sense. You've got your Romans only have the front rank on the base, and that's so you can paint them and then add the back base later, right?
Exactly, because I mean painting is hard, but also actually putting the basing material on is much harder if you got all the troops in there first.
Okay.
So I've done similar with the cavalry. I've got 2 or 3 to a base,
right?
And a lot of that is it is nice for painting the troops, but honestly, it's so that I don't cover them all with the flock and everything. The static
flock.
So I don't have the static grass all over everyone. I'm trying to jam that in there.
So what do you do? What's that, Brent? Brent's got comments as usual. What's that, Brent?
I'm retroactively going into all my ACW guys that did not have basing, and I'm doing that. And I fully believe every word you're saying about how difficult it is.
Yeah.
I'm taking Elmer's glue with a glue spreader, like a silicone tip, and I'm going around the edges of it. And I tried one stand to do in between. I was like, nope.
Don't use Elmer's. Use Mod Podge.
Elmer's is what we had, is what we got used.
Mod Podge is pretty good. Yeah.
I use Mod Podge mixed with black paint.
Okay.
And use that as the first layer of the base, and it's the black paint is going to give it some color, a little bit of like a muddy look, and then it also holds on the static grass and everything just fine. Well, I do a layer of the black Mod Podge, and then I dip it into a tub full of some gravel I have. Then let that dry and put more Mod Podge on top, and then the static grass.
Wow!
I just took textured paint from Vallejo, which is like the dark mud. And then I put that dry, and then I took a little bit of Elmer's glue, and then I took static grass and gravel from that pack, the senior pack, and just sprinkled it on.
That's pretty cool too. Yeah.
And I shook it in the excess, and then I just reused what was left.
Yeah.
The next stand over, and I did that. Then I varnished them as well, like I sealed it, because I don't know if that really works, but I did it anyway.
Yeah, the Vallejo mud, I like that a lot for my 28s. I find with the 15 millimeter infantry, it's too thick, and it's gonna cover their feet and their legs pretty badly. It's just a little, but I like using a lot for In Flames War. I use that for my tracks.
Right.
At this point, I don't even paint the tracks. I just cover them in the mud.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
I did that too with some of mine. I retroactively added some mud to some of my Shermans.
Sure.
What I'm also planning on doing that to vehicles for not black powder, that's not vehicles, but like for bolt action, because especially any Finnish vehicles going forward, I want to throw mud into those, because everybody knows Finland had the best roads in the Winter War and the Continuation War. Oh, I want to do ice and snow, but I don't know if I have the know-how to do that yet. So
YouTube is a thing. Oh wait, we're on YouTube, so
yeah. Ice, there are resins that you can get to there's diorama resins you can get to pour to make waters and ice. And then snow. I mean, there's all kinds of just
Baking soda.
baking. Yeah, I have used baking soda, but it can discolor over time is the problem.
Okay.
So there's a lot of hobby stores and dioramas that will sell just like snow powders for that. I've got a couple varieties. But yeah, baking soda is fine, but it will like yellow over time sometimes.
I like to use the white powder you get from Colombia. That works pretty good.
Yeah.
The people that sell it are mean.
So what I do for basing, and I've done it for 30 years, is I just put a good thick coat of paint, usually some color of green or brown, and then dip in my flocking material. And then, like Brent said, then I'll come along with a good heavy sealer.
Sure.
And done that for years. By and large, I'm happy with it. I've done a little bit with the Mod Podge, but I think I did some with some of my Flames of War guns. They got some Mod Podge, and so did some of my 172nd. But for years, all I've done for basing is just that the paint and flocking. I've got a mixed batch of green and sand flock that I use, and sometimes I'll add some of the static grass. I'm starting to get a little bit more fancy, but I've been pretty happy with that. Got some compliments on it. So when you we rabbit trail. So when you put the flocking on that front row of troops, how do you get that second row in there? With the Romans, you got 3 rows to put in.
Right. I mean, it's got a footprint. You know, you basically what I do is I paint down a layer of Mod Podge, and then it's got little holes that you snap them into. So I paint it, and then I just use a needle to clear the holes, basically.
Okay.
So that way that nothing much gets in there. And then I just the flocking I put on the puddle base for the infantry. So like the strip has its own little puddle base.
Yep.
So I'll put the Mod Podge and flocking on that rather than on the base so much.
Roger that.
And then the front and the sides of it, you know, there's nothing there on the front and side. So you can put some thick flock on the front, especially, and that kind of hides if there's not much in the center of it. So yeah, that's what I do to deal with that.
Cool. Wow. Here I thought we were talking about gaming, and we ended up we swayed into hobby things. Never know what you're going to learn in Gator's Garage. What's that, Brent?
Part of the gaming experience.
It really is, and it's one of those things that I think I see everybody ask. I see that question come up a lot about how do you do basing? What do you do for basing? I tend to be. It's funny. We were talking before we went on show about, you know, some guys are just so particular about how uniforms and stuff are done. I'm a real stickler for the bases. I'll tell people in a heartbeat. I've seen nice figures with no basing, and I'm like, bro, if you're not finishing your bases, you're just not finishing.
Bases, faces, shields, and banners.
Right. You know, and I've had figures that they didn't really pop until I put that final basing on there, and then you're like, oh, heck yeah. So bases matter, but all your bases belong to us. Just saying. Oh, look at this. Battle joined. Here we go. Man, those Roman units. Wow. Chris, you and I need a rematch because I think you handled my Romans pretty roughly last time.
Yeah. Yeah, what we have here is this is actually the aftermath of the battle. This unit of Gauls broke. So they broke against this line of Romans and allied Italian infantry. Because what I did was I threw in some light infantry at first, because the thing with Gauls, they have this rule where the first time they fight a combat in the game, they get to reroll all their hits.
Yes.
Well, all their misses. So I just throw skirmishers or light infantry in them. They're going to die horribly, but it makes them burn that reroll. So then you send the real guys in after, and they're not anywhere near as scary.
Wow.
So that's what happened here. They fought this line of Romans and Italians, and they broke on them. So this was them running away here. This
was a Gaul warband that shattered.
Exactly.
Got it. And a lot of, I know in Warhammer Ancients, the Gauls get like a morale bonus first round of combat if they charge first.
This was also like 2 or 3 rounds of the same melee, basically.
This was pretty grinding attrition going on.
It was a big fight.
Nice. Hey, that's why we play these games. We like the big fights.
Yep.
Fantastic. Up close and personal here, Slingers taking on, looks like, I guess it's Slingers taking on Roman light cavalry.
This is actually the Roman medium cavalry.
Okay.
So this is to get into kind of the army composition, we had. So for the Roman side, there was a unit of Romans that they were all elite, a very small division. Then there was some Roman allies who were like a larger force of them who was all levy, and they're the Italian states that are allied and they fight in the Roman manner, but they're not actual part of the Republic.
Right.
So they had light cavalry because historically they had a higher proportion of cavalry they had to bring. So we had one unit of Roman mediums and 2 unit of allied Italian light cavalry.
Okay.
And 3rd division was mercenaries and other assorted things, like some North Italians who were allied but didn't fight in the Roman manner. They fought more in the Celtic Gallic manner.
Yeah,
you know, we had some Celtiberian war bands. We had some Spanish Scutari who had their pilums and all that.
Right.
Just a big mishmash in the 3rd division of mercenaries and such.
Very cool.
So this here is the actual Roman medium cavalry. There's no heavy cavalry at this point yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So having to push forward, having to spend a movement to cross over the obstacle here, and then coming in to charge these slingers. And I believe they actually got forced back with the slingers here.
I think
they did because the slingers, for one, they are at this close range. They give you a -1 to your morale save. So these cavalry were saving on 6s because of how good slings are up close. And then secondly, in Hail Caesar, if you roll a 6 to hit with ranged, that unit has to take a break test. So he rolled a 6, and this cavalry had to. They didn't break, but they did have to fall back.
Reconsider the decisions.
Yeah.
It's interesting too. This photo, like this is the battle that we just saw shattering in the background and behind the cavalry. That's the big fight. I think that's actually the 2nd phase of the battle.
That sounds right.
The first phase, the Romans charged, supported by their Italian allies, and after several, because I think we both have a commander in it. And at this point, the flank that he had was kind of peeled back, but he still had the numbers. And these guys, I think, because they had like a stamina of 8, because they were a large war band, they were at 6 at this point. And I was trying to support them as best I could. And at this point, I realized the chariots, that's what they were for. So I threw them into support. And this is right before I tried to rally some of these guys, and then Chris's Romans were like, "No, stop! They're trying to figure out what's happening."
Yeah,
go again.
And that's why we saw the chariots breaking, because whatever, if you lose a fight, you have to check both the unit that fought as well as the support units, right, Chris?
Yes, the support units also. If the unit that fought failed a break test, and are forced to, if they actually break. Then what usually happens, if they force to fall back, then the supports will fall back as well.
Right.
If they break, the supports need to make their own break test and can break off the field as well. Or they may just fall back. And so cavalry, infantry is actually really solid.
Yes.
Infantry, it takes a lot to break them. Cavalry will fall back very readily. And they're more likely to break than the infantry is. But cavalry, they have to roll amazingly well to actually stay in a fight. If they lose it, they usually will try to fall back.
Now, the medium Roman cavalry, was it melee oriented, or did they also have thrown weapons?
So pretty much everything in both armies have throwing weapons. The only thing that don't are the triari, because they fight in a phalanx style, so they don't have any thrown weapons. Everything else has at least javelins. Okay. So these medium cavalry, they do have javelins they can throw.
Which I do think that because you failed the charge, did attempt to throw.
They did throw some javelins, yeah.
Something. So so who's the character there off to the side?
So that was some. I forget who he was. He's a named Roman character. Okay. He is the army's general.
Okay.
He's one of the more minor ones.
Right.
I got the book right here. He was.
Look at you being man on the spot. I like it.
That was the eager.
He was
That
called,
is
he
Tiberius Sempronius Longus. Whoever that is.
I've heard the name actually, surprisingly, and that's his sons with him,
It's
probably
or just a couple of pages.
just pages essentially. It's just I forget which model that is. I think that model is supposed to be
Scipio Africanus?
Yeah, or Scipio the Elder. It might be.
Okay.
Because I've got the whole like Roman commander set. I
Right.
forget which one is which though, because you just have to like refer back to the pics. But I just like him because he's just like on his little thing, like giving orders.
Very out of the, not in armor but in robes. And
Yeah.
Right.
Place. It's funny too because like this is a weird situation because at this point, the second phase of the battle, I had used this light infantry, which is behind that on the other side of the wall, to turn one of the supporting units from Chris. But in return, he pushed them back, which they were rallying against this wall.
Mm-hmm.
But this was after the cavalry had snuck around. So it goes, my guys, Chris's guy, and his general, my guys, and my guys. So they were like behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
And the funniest part was they stayed there the entire game. Like, no matter how much I shot them, that no matter how many sticks I stabbed them with or whatever, like they stayed there.
Yeah, so they kept rolling up through his skirmishers, just eating them one by one.
Boy, love it. Yeah, and I always got to say a word about slingers. The bow gets a lot of press in ancient and medieval warfare, but the sling, it was very hard to learn to use, but it was an incredibly devastating weapon. And I know we got the story of David in the Bible that folks talk about, and people are like, oh, David was so brave, and he was, but I'll take a sling against a big guy in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
a
lot of people think they hear sling and they think slingshot is what it is.
Right.
But no, a sling stone, they're lead balls. And they will break like this type of metal armor. They will actually puncture it. It's pretty nasty. Especially because you're not using plate most of the time. The Roman, you get a helmet that's a solid piece of metal, but usually everyone else is using chain. That offers no protection from being hit at a lead ball going a couple 100 miles an hour.
Right.
All right, guys, Roman cavalry, load armor piercing.
I love it. Yeah, where I really got that really kind of brought that home to me is I was playing Command and Colors Ancients, and the bows and the slings have the same stats. And I was like, and I just did a little research. I'm like, whoa! And it was the third or fourth Ancients game I'd played where slingers were it just occurred to me that you always see slingers in ancient armies, and that was why they could be pretty darn devastating. So
yeah, how this differentiated is the archers get an 18-inch range,
right?
The slingers get a 12-inch, but if they're within 6 inches, it is a -1 to their morale save.
Excellent. Wow.
And most stuff here has a 5-up save. The Roman heavy infantry has a 4-up, but most other things in the game have a 5 or a 6.
Wow.
Wow. Pretty rough.
Well, you want to get the game done, so there you go.
Well,
yeah. So this medium cavalry here, the slingers took me from a 5-up save to a 6, and so every hit I just took it.
Boy. Thank you, sir. May I have another? All right. Yeah. Well, that's really, again, I love these stories from games. Just they tell, you get these little fights and they tell their own little stories just kind of off to the side. Okay, there we go. There's the battle line again. I can see the sun starting to go down, guys. Oh, look at the shadows. Look at the shadows across the front of the troops there, or I guess across the back. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
So this is sort of mid to late game here. So this division's closest to us is both of our right, or my right, Chris's leftmost division. And this is the divisions that did nothing the entire game for both of us. Mm-hmm. This is literally I think we called it on turn 6. This was turn 5.
Okay.
They just made contact with mainline units at turn 5.
Lordy.
It was turn 3 before this flank passed its first order check.
Gosh.
I was able to get some velites moved up, like 1 unit, I think.
Right.
Other than that, all this there's 8 units of heavy infantry that was just sitting there doing nothing for 3 turns. Here, what you have here, we have engaging. We have a unit of velites and a unit of Tarentine light cavalry from the Greek city-state that was ally of Rome. They were known for having very elite light cavalry. And so that was what they're doing here. We're making first contact with this warband. So I'm seeing light guys in first. They're going to die, and they're going to because they're going to reroll all their hits. So they get 7, 8 hits on me.
Right.
So these guys they break. Then all the heavy infantry behind them come up, and they don't have that reroll anymore.
Wow, that's just brutal. And one of the things I read in reading about General Ancients too is just like in the Middle Ages, your cavalry was usually the nobles. So that was always kind of interesting. But man, yeah, you use the light troops right. You use them to break up those heavier formations and then bring in the reserves. Well played.
Chris had a very interesting, like when he used, me and him used, I felt like we used our light infantry a little differently, but he did his really well compared to what I was doing. I always think, like, my problem with when I play different rule sets, especially different periods, is getting my mindset out of rank and file, flank and shoot kind of games to melee oriented, right?
Yeah.
Because one of my conceptions was with a bow, bow, you could shoot over the guys because they could arc it.
Right.
That wasn't the case in this, so I was like, okay. So, so what I had to do was I focused most of my guys into big masses on each flank, except for the cavalry side. And in between, I had the skirmishers, which is what he exploited earlier in the game with the cavalry. He shot through the middle of one of them after routing some guys, and it just kind of raiding. I was not bothered. I was so unbothered by them though that I just kept throwing all my light infantry. I was like, maybe if I shoot them enough, they'll go away. And as you can tell, they didn't go away. So, and I shot the crap out of him too. But he just stuck around and hung out. We even had some snacks and all that after the collapse of the center. And
the big thing with the Romans is because they're all heavy infantry. Missiles from the front are at -1 hit them because of the shields.
Yeah, shields up.
The shields up, and then also, infantry. So you do get a ranged break test if you roll a 6 to hit. Infantry basically ignore that. Like, you need to roll like a 4 for them to start even falling back, and to be broken by range, they have to already be shaken. So real infantry don't care about the range break test much. Skirmishers though, they take that break test and they will just walk off the field.
Disappear.
Take it to heart.
But now skirmishers, if skirmishers disintegrate, I don't think they don't force their friends to take tests.
No, unless the skirmishers are majority of the division, you ignore them for your division morale break limits.
Thank goodness, because we were looking left and right. Early in the game. There was a couple turns too where we shot at each other with skirmishers, and each one of us lost, in one shooting, lost a unit.
Wow.
You roll 1-6 and then they run away. Yeah.
I'm going home, guys. I didn't sign up for this.
Hey, that was often I was like, you know what? Especially if you were a mercenary, you're like, yeah, I think I'm done.
Yeah, so on the range break test of skirmishers, if they roll a 4, if they've taken any casualties, they just break immediately. They're not shaken. They roll a 4 on 2d6, they break. If it's I think they have to roll anything less than a 9, they at least fall back. Yeah, so anything less than a 10. So a 5 through a 9, the skirmishers have to retreat back and move from a range test, and then a 4 they break.
Wow, pretty cool. Okay, so a couple takeaways is expect your skirmishers to die once they get in any kind of reasonable combat, unless they're fighting each other.
They have to die, Mike.
What?
they could just leave. Sometimes they just leave. They don't
Okay,
die.
or expect them to otherwise disappear. But they're also good for literally as being speed bumps, and I've seen that in just about every ancient system. You throw your skirmishers out to slow down that rank and flank, and kind of act as speed bumps. Now, you didn't do on Brent on your side. I guess you didn't use your skirmishers to really threaten any of his formed troops.
So on my left side, I had a cavalry division on my far left. He had 3 infantry divisions. I had 2 and then 1 cavalry, which I love the cavalry, and I'll tell you at the end here because you didn't use any photos from that side, a lot of them at least, and that's really where the game literally was made or break.
Oh wow.
But anyway, on this side, I had the 2 infantry divisions. So the closest guys over here are the division that decided, okay, now we'll join the battle. After most of everybody else is gone now.
Nice.
Kind of our turn. And in the middle, I had my bigger division with my warrior leader of Brachus or whatever his name was, Brachius.
Brancus.
And the goal was pretty simple. They had the naked warriors in there, which I was going to hopefully use as shock troops. But the way it unfolded was that large warband was a large warband. And so when I pushed him forward, he had to concentrate. Well, one, he threw his skirmishers out to absorb that special rule. But then after that, he formed up his old guard of the Romans and folded the side supported by light infantry on that rightmost flank in the center of my guys there. And at this point, I had light infantry in close rank supporting them, but I think I peeled them off about the second phase to secure my flank. But then they got pushed back, which is why they're rallying right behind the Roman cavalry, because they had more impressive things than the horses eating and trotting in the field or whatever. And there was a big fight there, a big melee, that whirlwind. And unfortunately, I could not do much to stop him. I tried to roll my naked warriors over to the left to go around this building that was in the middle of town. And I unfortunately just couldn't get them around. I think I went to move them individually and failed a order test.
Yeah.
So I had to stop. And that really kind of set the tone for that battle, was these guys were on their own. And it wasn't until I brought up the chariots that they made a little bit of a difference, but it wasn't break enough of the Roman guys, because the Roman soldiers were the ones really carrying that.
Yes.
The Italians were there in the supporting role. They did a good job.
They were there. Yeah.
They're there.
But they took a beating, but the Romans really returned the beating and dealt twofold. Like it was.
Yeah, they will.
That.
Yeah.
And just to shorten it on that other side, again, which is where the game was literally made and broke. The center, which we saw earlier, my collapse for me. I had when we took that photo of the Gaul unit breaking, the division broke after that.
Wow.
So the only remaining unit was the naked warband, which had to do a fighting retreat. They were fighting the cavalry unit, which is just to the right of that building.
Yeah.
But after that melee, they had to withdraw the entire way.
That's
and they were gone. And at this point, it was my left and right versus the majority of Chris's forces. And on my left, his right, there was a cavalry fight going on. And I kind of took the point with the cavalry fight. I had more cavalry to throw on that side.
Yes.
What really made it on that side was his Italian or his mercenary division did nothing well that game for the long part, but the skirmishers came out from time. But at the end, when I had already lost division, I charged his guys with I think 1 or 2 regiments of cavalry and broke one, and then rolled that into another charge. And then those guys countercharged, but then they broke under the weight of their own charge. And then the division broke. Like they took casualties in their own charge that they broke. So at this point, his right's open, my center's open. So I'm just going to swing the 2 regiments I had left.
Yep.
My cavalry. But the unit that they were fighting, one of the units that were fighting in a withdrawal, because again, the division broke while in the clash. So there was two units in a melee, and they were going to resolve that melee before they withdrew. So as their last act of defiance, the Spanish soldiers, Spanish mercenaries, routed the Gaul cavalry and killed the division commander in one last round of melee combat, and then left the field.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, that's just rude.
Yeah, the Spanish Scutari, their division had broken, but they were still in a fight, so they were going to keep fighting.
Wow.
So they were disordered, but they still got, because cavalry sustained isn't that great,
Yeah.
you know. And so the infantry and cavalry, after the initial clash, they've got the same amount of dice, and so
Yep.
they just managed to put enough onto the. I think they won by one casualty.
Close.
Wow.
And so the Gaul cavalry broke from that, and that broke his cavalry division. And then the Spanish just immediately had to run off the table because their division was already broken.
Wow.
And it was kind of looking good for me. Sort of, I was almost saving this. It was, if anything, I was hoping for a Pyrrhic victory here. So when I broke
victory,
I was thinking if I could break this and roll them because I broke the division, I'm going to win this melee. I'm just going to take the cavalry, maybe rally some casualties off, and swing on his flank. Because at this point, the big melee in the battle had broken. He had pushed his Italians up, and they were exposed. They were kind of stretched out. So I ran a cavalry unit and charged them from the rear and broke that and broke his center division.
Wow.
As my guys broke on the left. So that was it. I said I was 2 of my divisions going of 3. I think we had also played long enough. There was no way I was coming back from that. So I was like, we'll call it for the second time. Because I think at this point, too, with the way our other divisions were going, they were probably just ready to go home. They were just buying time for something. Either the guy leading him to die and just not worry about what they're doing, or for something to happen so they didn't have to fight.
Sure. Well, what happens is that in Hail Caesar, if more than half your divisions break, the army breaks.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in this case, it was 3 per side, and I'd lost 1, he'd lost 2. So since he had lost 2, the third of his immediately broke as well.
Time to recall. So I did dig up and pull up one of your cavalry pictures, and so these are still work in progress. Now you'll eventually end up with 5 per, right?
Yeah, 5 per. And so this is the on the right, the infantry, we have the Celtic beer and warband. Yeah. And on the left is the 2 units of the Spanish Scutari that ended up grinding hit. The first one broke and died, and so the second one behind came and charged in.
Oh, wow.
And then they just kind of ground his cavalry down.
Grandy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a very interesting fight. Especially when I broke his division, I was like, gosh, that was not as hard as I thought. But it was weird, too, because he had charged me with the first wave of Spanish with the second guy behind him. And when they got there, they took so much damage in that charge. I think I countercharged, didn't I, with the cavalry?
Yes, you countercharge. With cavalry, always countercharge infantry, which will disorder the infantry. But you got to do it, you know?
You have
sometimes you got to do it.
Sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, but it was a very bloody fight. I had a lot more fun than I thought they would. If anybody knows me, I'm not really a stick, stones, and pokey kind of guy.
No, you're not a big rank and flank guy.
I do like rank and flank, but I like gunpowder. Like that's my And also, I've read so much books about that. I've been listening to an audiobook for the last month of the Napoleonic Wars. Okay. So I've been obsessed with that kind of stuff. So and then being taking my gunpowder away and cannons and
not even any siege, not even any battlefield siege engines.
Now, I do have a unit of ballista I could bring next time for the Romans.
I asked him, I said, no siege howitzers? Like, I don't get any of those. He's like, nah.
Sorry.
Not, period.
There's a reason we call you barbarians, Brent.
I think ballistas might be able to fire overhead. I know catapults can. But ballistas have a 24-inch range. They're pretty nasty.
They've got rules for onagers, too, which are a little bit smaller. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. If maybe not an epic, but I know that the full the full Hell Caesar does, because the full size Hell Caesar has the same army list but a couple more units in some cases, just because they didn't want to make the models yet, and so they in epic, they only have rules for units that they have models for.
Sure, and that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But again, you can always buy the full size Hail Caesar book, which has a number of army lists in it, and then use any of the Hail Caesar supplements. And it's true for any of these, black powder, pike and shot, Hail Caesar. You can use any of the supplements to go with the epic scale rules. I know we're both, me and Chris are both working on some samurai to do pike and shot. Shot samurai. We'll eventually get to those.
Their most recent expansion was for samurai.
Yes, I have
for pike and shots. Yeah, same here. A lot of interesting stuff with. before the battle, you got shinobis you can allocate to do
Shenanigans,
things.
what?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
Shinobis.
you have the shinobis do things like burn down some bridges to prevent river crossings. You know, all kinds of interesting things with them.
What, Brand?
We don't burn bridges around here.
Oh, every chance we get. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah,
you
so-
got points to do things like you can send some guys on flank marches. You can
Nice.
set some guys in ambush. It gives a lot of really interesting options. You don't see anywhere else in Black Powder or Pike and Shot of any of this stuff. It's great.
Yeah. That's nice because one of the things, and of course, all these games use a very similar mechanic. And it would be very easy to just bolt on a little bit of chrome. But I'm like you. Now, the Black Powder, they all feel fairly similar. The Napoleonics and the Civil War. Although even there's enough difference that you can tell the difference between the periods.
Sure.
But definitely between like Hail Caesar and Pike and Shot. I've not played Pike and Shot yet. I've got some figures for it.
Honestly, Pike and Shot is almost identical to Black Powder. The only real difference is the actual Pike and Shot mechanics, where where instead of forming a Napoleonic square, you're forming a square out of like mixed Pike and Shot units. So Hail Caesar has a distinct system. There's actually a lot of rule differences between Black Powder and Pike and Shot compared to Hail Caesar.
Right.
But Black Powder and Pike and Shot are essentially the exact same game.
Okay. Cool. That makes it easy to pick up.
Yeah, there's just a lot you have to keep in mind with Hail Caesar because a lot of things work differently. Like in Black Powder and Pike and Shot, you rolled a 6 to hit with range. You distorted the unit. In Hail Caesar, it's break test for the unit. So they might maybe nothing happens. Maybe they're distorted. Maybe they break.
Right. Right. And that was one of the first things I noticed, and I'm like, well, this is different. So yeah, definitely. And I like that. I like that it feels different. I kind of just pulled together some quick points before the show. Just, if you're thinking about Hail Caesar, I think we've covered just about all these. First of all, mass battle. And I know for 28s, I tend to do skirmish. And I've got a running discussion with some of the folks I know in the field. I'm like, guys, epic's where it's at if you want to do mass battle. Even for larger World War II games, the battle one more time, the Flames of War size 15 mil. It's a pretty good size, or even 6. But 28s are definitely the thing for skirmish for sure. Although I've done 15 mil skirmish, and it looks pretty good, especially if you got just a few figures. But yeah, definitely for large formations. We put more full armies on the table, and then of course the command rolls. I gotta love the command rolls, even if they drive me crazy. Although I've been known to give the game a nudge and say, "All right, everybody gets a free move." But
Mike can't move anybody. That's why Mike hasn't moved the whole game. We're getting a free move now.
Well, that's why you got to put them into the column because you put them in column, and even if they fail, they still get to make a move.
Right. But then if you're too close to a formed unit and you get attacked, carnage ensues.
Yeah.
So now for the Hail Caesar box set, of course, the focus is the Second Punic War, which is really. And two fairly different armies, especially when you throw in the elephants. And I think the Carthaginians, and they don't have it in this set, I don't think. But I'll be real curious to see if they ever come out with the Pyrrhic Wars in this scale, or the Greek Wars, because Carthage should have access to some actual phalanxes.
They do. Yes, it's the actual. They're called Libyan infantry because they're the actual Carthaginians themselves. So the Carthaginian army is mostly mercenary, right? But you have the units of it's called Libyan heavy infantry or something, which they have the phalanx rules. So they fight as a Macedonian style phalanx, and they're like the elites of the Carthaginians army. Okay. So the phalanx rules in there. It's right now. It's just that only one unit that uses it. Okay. The Triarchy are equipped similar, but they don't. Yes. They fight in a phalanx formation, because they instead of fighting like two in a line, they fight 2 bases deep. Yes. But they have a long spear rule that makes it so that cavalry that charges them are disordered. Ooh. But they don't have the actual phalanx rule. Whereas the Carthaginians have the phalanx rule because they fight exactly like the Greeks did. Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Kind of a literally go figure, the successor state, right? Right. So there we go.
why does it work? The starter set, of course, the big starter set, which comes in at around $390, which is like, wow, $384. I think I looked it up tonight, and I'm like, holy cow! I don't even stock the big starter set. I was like, no.
That's a lot for guys that I'm gonna have to spend double that to probably get painted if I don't paint them myself.
Yeah, the individual armies I think are what 150 for either Carthaginians or Romans or Celts, something like that.
I might be able to paint that amount of models.
Yeah, and I think I even did a cut down set that has like one box of Romans and one box of Carthaginians, and then I think one box each of the allies, and that comes in somewhere around like 200, which is at least something less. Would love at some point to see the Scipio quick play game, but they say you can only get that in the Hannibal sets. Like, okay. Celts, I guess there's others coming too. The Celts look great and they're fun with their chariots.
Well, they have made. I've seen some. I'm not sure where it was mentioned, but people have said that Warlord has talked about the next thing they're doing being their medieval line for Hell Caesar in Epic.
That's kind of funny because Wargames Atlantic just dropped in 10 mil. Agincourt, what they call Azincourt.
Yeah, probably a good reason that Warlord wants to compete with that.
Yeah, go figure, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, Wargames Atlantic is they've of course they're running 10 mil, not any kind of odd scale. They're clearly 10 mil, so you can plug in just about anything you want with them. And we won't sit here and beat up Warlord too bad. But yeah, I actually just received a couple of demo kits of the Wargames Atlantic kits, and I'll be probably showing them on the channel in the next week or two. At least unbox the box and show what's out there.
Yeah,
I like to paint.
I like their samurai. I don't like their ashigaru.
Okay.
The way they build the sprues, they have the gates on the spears, and the spears are too thin, and so you will snap a lot of those spears off because the ashigaru use pikes, and they're extremely thin pikes.
Okay.
So you will break a lot of the spears and a lot of the bows as well. But the samurai don't have that issue. The samurai use shorter spears. Sometimes you'll break a bow if you're trying to clip it off because it's still fairly thin. But I think the samurai sprue from WGA is built better than their ashigaru.
Okay.
The thin spear breaking was historically accurate. That's why they did it that way.
Oh,
sure.
We're gonna throw something at you, Brent. So how do you work around the thin spear problem?
You don't. You've got a lot of them, and some's going to break. They're cheap, honestly. That's honestly a good part of it is that they're so the models are so cheap for what you get. Like you get a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I have been looking at their hi-ho or hey-ho rule set.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's a level up organizationally from Pike and Shot.
Right.
So the units in Pike and Shot is like what you call brigade or division is that's called a sonai or whatever, where it's a number of battalions or whatever, and you activate it. In hey-ho, that is your basic unit size. So you have 4 bases of infantry, and that's the same thing as the whole division in Pike and Shot Samurai.
Okay.
And so what it means is that each base can be something different. So you've got one base of spear guys, one base of gunners, one base of archers, cavalry, all acting as a unit.
Right.
And so the rules, it's a lot of rules about this type. If it's at this part of your formation, it gives you an advantage. If your spears are your front row, your advantage against cavalry, things like that.
Interesting.
It's interesting, yes. So you have multiple divisions called Tay, and that's each Tay is what your entire Pike and Shot army for Samurai is.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, so it's the organizational level up from Pike and Shot. So it is interesting with that.
You're fighting truly large battles.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking at an actual army of tens of thousands being represented for that because you're moving. But I'm not a big fan of the rules just looking at them because you're fighting on this weird 10 by 10 centimeter grid.
I saw you talk about
that. You have to grid out your whole 6x4 table into these 4-inch squares. And that sounds awful to actually do logistically.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. exactly.
Yeah, I've got the rules and I looked through that. Now they did say that you can also play at free movement.
You
So,
can, but
yeah.
it doesn't. It seems unwieldy if you do it that way. 'Cause it's not
Interesting.
meant with that in like in
As an
practice. I don't think
afterthought, it was text.
So
it is. It's an afterthought.
that's when you get some of the geohex, those not geohex, but GHQ, those hexes that GHQ makes.
Mhm.
I think they're 4 inches across. So that
Well,
would work
it's
just perfect.
squares though, not hexes.
No, they make hexes.
No. I mean, the game uses squares.
Oh yeah, but you could use hexes.
I guess.
Because
Yeah,
hexes, we're war gamers. We like our hexes.
that's
But
true.
yeah. So yeah, I remember looking at that and thinking, So I've got the rules, I've got the troops. They're kind of just sitting there. I think I'm going to stick with the pike and shot samurai. I think it's going to be more fun.
I agree. A
yeah.
lot more goes into it because the pike and shot has like the shinobi rules. It has rules for challenging enemy commanders.
Oh,
You taking their heads for extra victory points, things like that. Yeah.
Nice. So we're going to have to make some models with no heads.
Mhm.
Bury the body, bag the head. Wow,
Yep.
Very good. So that's the epic. It's a lot of fun. Here at Hail Caesar, who knows next? We might talk about Black Powder. I think we've covered that a lot.
Yeah, I purchased the American War of Independence set because I'd like to do the Siege of Savannah as a scenario in either next year, because it's going to take a while because it's a lot of stuff.
It's big.
Next year or the year after, I'll be able to do that full scenario. That's what my goal is for the hobby in the future. So
I think you were one of 2 people that bought that set from me because I think you got one, and then one other guy got one.
Okay.
That's another one of those big sets.
Oh yeah, it's
Now me, I cheated, and I'm going to do. If you guys have been on my website and you've seen my brigade command rules, I can't quite reach these. I've got a box each of the British and the colonials. That'll probably be about as deep as I go. We'll do the small battles. So love it. Love the game. Love what you guys are doing. For y'all that don't know, Chris and Brent are part of our leadership team of HMGS Savannah here, Pulaski's Guard. And one of the reasons we play at Savannah Lions is it gives us a chance to show the club. And you might think, well, gee, this is the Gator channel, and why are you playing another store? Well, I carry things that Savannah Lion doesn't, and they don't have an interest in, but they're more than happy to have gamers in the store. And we make it a point. I buy a lot of my paints there.
Yeah.
We make it a point to support them. You heard Chris mention BattleTech, and we definitely like up some BattleTech, and it's all I can do.
Love BattleTech.
Yeah. And do to walk by that BattleTech display every time I'm in there. I'm like, no, you have plenty. You don't need more. But
yeah, so those Gauls I painted, for example, it's most of that is the Army Painter 2.0 speed paints, and I got that all from the store there.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're kind of our local distributor there. Warlord sells those, but at the price point that they sell, they only make available like the big kits. And that's just crazy. I actually had a friend of mine. He bought me a set of speed paints for Christmas, and I was like, "You are just amazing."
It's great.
That's probably what I'll tackle. Those I'll tackle my epic stuff, and even I've got some of the Mantic epic, and I'll probably tackle it with those speed paints. Quick coat of white, quick coat of paint, call it a day.
Yeah, I find that it's not great for like the larger models, like the 28 mil sometimes.
Really?
Like for tanks and stuff, because it doesn't like flat surfaces. But small models, there's just there's so much little nooks and crannies that it's the perfect paint for that. If you're doing like a tank, you've got curved surfaces and it just pulls on it. Any kind of like thin paint like that's going to do that.
Yeah.
But for 15 mil, that kind of thing, like it's fantastic for cloth, for skin tones, for all the capes. Like for my Gauls, all the capes was that speed paint.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there I noticed you based your stuff in white. And so I guess you then just come along with that speed paint, drop that on there, and you're done.
I use GW. It's called Gray Seer, which is it's not white; it's a light gray. I like that a little bit better than pure white.
Okay.
It because speed paint is very heavily dependent on what is under it.
Yes.
And so with pure white, it can be a little too bright. The end result, whereas the light gray, it gives you the better shadows, I feel.
Okay. I'll have to remember that when I start to use my speed paint. And I've got some of the pens too, which if you've not yet used pens for painting, and it's really hilarious because right before they came out with the big push, I think Wargames Army Painter came out with the paint pens. My wife and I, we did our last batch of medievals with just regular marker pens.
Okay.
And they were, and we were pretty happy with the results. And then what do you know? Oh, hey, paint pens. That's a neat idea. And it's a different thing. It doesn't flow as well as your regular paint. So there's some things it won't catch. But I tell you, if you want to just sit down and plow through some figures and not fight with water and brushes, it's a good way to go. So
nice.
There we go. And Brent, I've seen you have some stuff on your paint table too. You're working on what? Civil War right now?
I'm doing I'm doing some Civil War Union.
Yep.
I'm also finishing. I'm trying to reflock some Confederates that I've already had painted, but I've also got some bolt action on the table as well. I'm going to assemble that. Stargrave is another thing that I'm going to be working on here too. I've got a lot of views, and I've also paid other people to paint more of my stuff while I paint some of my own stuff. So.
I get it. I bought a lot from a friend of mine. And I bought all his Conflict 47 stuff, which was assembled and painted, and then a couple of World War II platoons that were painted and assembled. I'm like, yeah, those will come in handy. So you guys will be seeing some. What's that, Chris?
Yeah, I've got my Conflict 47. I need to. That's one of the next things I'm working on. I got my some of the Italian armored infantry.
Ooh.
And some of the little scout walkers, and I want to get from you sometime the Falcos, the Italian jump infantry.
Yes,
really nice.
Jump troops are so much fun.
Yeah.
So just let me know. And of course, I don't carry that stock, but I do order regularly from Warlord, either trade or I sometimes order direct. Found out when ordering direct though, they slap a 10% tariff on everything, which I thought those tariffs had been peeled back. I don't know, but so the last direct order I got in. What do you have there, Brent? African squad box.
Oh yeah, not modern guys. I just not them.
But so when you order direct from Warlord, you get slapped with that. If you order through their website, they've got a lot of sales going on, but you do get slapped with that 10% tariff. So
at this point, it's easier to list what Warlord things I don't have because I've got the Cruel Seas, I got Black Seas, I got Victory at Sea.
Yep. I
every single epic rings that they've made, I've got. So yeah.
I've bought.
You don't have you've got Blood Red Skies too, don't you, or do you?
No, I've got
I've got Blood Red Skies.
Yes.
No, I don't have the plain ones. It's I bought. So what's the game called?
Did you get Cruel Seas, the gunboat game?
Yes, I got Cruel Seas.
Game? We should play. I didn't know you had that because I've got that as well.
Yeah, there was a plain game they made where it was like a box where everything was out of scale with all the rest. I got it as part of like a grab bag box. What's that?
Was it Wings of War? But it's not Warlord.
No, it's not
they
Wings
did
of
a
War.
1/72 scale Blood Red Skies.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, so it's out of scale with everything else.
Right. I was like, why, guys?
It's like a Battle of Britain set or something like that.
I think you get 4 planes. Yeah, I was like, it was. Well, they've been, Warlord's being acquired or has been acquired by Hoinby, I think it's called, who makes Airfix.
Right.
And I think that was an attempt at a joint project. But I'm with you,
It
Chris.
was. Yeah.
Why a totally mismatched scale? I can see like what they did with Octum Panzer, where they took an existing scale of tank and slapped some rules on it.
Right.
Love it. Makes sense. A lot of good value to the consumer there. But to do an out-of-scale plane with an existing set of rules, that seemed pretty counterintuitive. So
but
I
never
hey.
bought that, but it came in one of those mystery boxes,
Yeah, that's really good. All right, well, guys, this has been fun. We will do this again. Y'all are doing ideally Napoleonics this coming Sunday.
Hopefully, sometime we'll see. I haven't talked to Chris about that.
Yeah, we're gonna figure it out.
Good.
I don't have a lick of paint on it, but I've got like 2,000 or 3,000 points worth of British at this point.
That makes two of us.
That last Sunday that the paint makes no difference in how bad I play. So
there we go. See,
I'm gonna look good dying.
There you go. Yeah, I have not painted a stitch of my Napoleonics and probably will not. Just no.
I'm still a young man. I got years ahead of me to get this done.
That's right. That's exactly right. So definitely want to have you guys back on for when we do that, and who knows whatever else we might come on and kick around. So fantastic. All right, y'all hang around after the show. And for those of y'all that stay with us, ran about an hour tonight. But if you listen, you picked up some good things about hobbying. Hopefully, you got inspired to kind of take a look at this Epic line, which is really a fun way to play these tactical games. A little bit more forgiving on the painting side, and definitely when you throw those Epic on the table, it's like, yeah, that looks like a battle. So, thanks a lot, guys, and that's it from the Gator for tonight. Oh yeah, before we go, don't forget to do the things. Click the like, subscribe, and share. And best way to support the channel is buy some merch from the store.